Good morning again. We'll be looking at the weekday verses. We'll look at, we'll try and explore. I'm not very sure of the planetary connections that Steiner brings into weekdays, not each planet, but celestial bodies. So, somewhere there is this being, the human being is a microcosm, and we are connected with the universe, the universal rhythms, which is macrocosm. So there is always this interaction between the microcosm and the macrocosm. This is how he begins the discussions about how we are influenced by the celestial bodies, about the rhythms in the nature. And a lot of our practices have been that. We do the full moon, new moon rituals. We have a lot of associations, especially the moon cycles, the lunar calendar that go with. But what I do understand from all of this is to be in rhythm, the rhythm where the child or even us as human beings, we are in connection with the nature. The minute I say something has to happen on a new moon day, then I'm looking forward, I'm counting down, I am preparing for that day. And something happens on a full moon day, the same thing happens. So I am in connection with nature constantly. That is what is rhythm. What little I understand about planetary influences are the Mercury, Venus are the inner planets. Earth is what we are on right now. And then Jupiter, Saturn are the outer planets. And along with it comes in the moon and the sun. So, what Steiner talks about is outer planets are more about expanding, exploring. Our first half of our life is more about exploring the world around, the jobs, the kinds of things we do, all of that. And then second half of life we come back to contraction, going inward, going deeper, understanding life at more subtler levels. That's somewhere post 35 and pre 35. So when we are doing this expansion and contraction, like day and night, that's rhythm. Steiner calls them as taking breath in and letting breath out. And every moment is like that. I mean, I breathe in and breathe out 18 times in a minute, and every breathe in is lumped up, 4 beats. Every breathe out is similar, and we can manage our breath to manage our breathing patterns. And somewhere it's associated with memory, it's associated with life, a lot of other things come into picture. This is what we begin to explore, bringing in that rhythm in the child's life. When we say this verse, just bring it up. Well, I have posted it for you all, and I'm just looking it up here. The Monday's verse, it's nothing specific, no religious association. It is just about settling in with nature, right? So the light of the sun shines in my heart. So we begin with that reverence, rather than teaching children that sun gives us light and heat, sun is a luminous body, and sun has creates his own light. We talk about all of that as a matter of fact, as though we have taken it for granted, as though, I mean, it is a kind of there. At least in my lifetime, I don't see sun waking up and sleeping, like dissolving or becoming a black hole, or that entire life cycle of a star is much, 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 much longer than my life. So for me, sun is there all the time. So I take it for granted. But now bringing in that element of observing, you know then mornings and evenings become special. Why does the sky change? Why does the sun move? As far as I on earth am concerned, the sun moves. Why does he move? And then I start observing my shadows and my the heat. Different things come into the observation of the child indirectly. It is through just saying this, and no explanation of this verse every Monday during my circle time. I just say it once, sometimes three times. It's not about memorization. It's told every Monday. The light of the sun shines in my heart. Now the light shines. Child may not have the vocabulary to understand, child may not be able to comprehend, but once this is memorized over the period of years that the child recites this, I begin to go deeper into the meaning. How does that light shine in my heart? Now, what happens when something shines? So we begin pondering about it in every child in their own way, every child in their own pace. It is not that every child will get it in a week's time or 10 days time or 3 years time. Rhythm, that's rhythm. Every child has a different rhythm. And of course, we try to bring in the external rhythm as much as possible for the children to tune into it. That's about it, right? And then the strength of the stones lives in my limbs. Strength of the stones lives in my limbs. We are bringing the fourfoldedness here. Steiner talks about um, the fourfoldedness of the human nature. I am made of these four folds, four elements in nature. The stones represent the mineral world, and the strength of that mineral world lives in my limbs, in my hands, in my feet. Somewhere, when my hands and feet are strong, what can I do? Right? So then get up and walk, get up and move, lift something up, push something, extend the support to a friend, be there, be present. That strength is something that the children will start sensing. And they start observing who else is using their strength. Now there is a rock that is heavy, but tiny grain of sand is also kind of a tiny rock. Is it the same thing heavy? We talk about floating and sinking and heavy and light. We bring all of these concepts, but in a very head level way. What we are trying to do here is bring it in my body at the heart level, at the observation and feeling levels, anything for that matter. And now, for myself, I'm talking this, everything was given at a head level, and to think from heart, to feel from heart is an effort, because that's not part of my uh, experience growing up. So now when I have to think using my heart, it's difficult. How do you think? What are you feeling right now, good and bad? That's about it. I like it, I don't like it. There are very few vocabulary that I can express how I'm feeling, but there is so much deeper in it. And this is what we are trying to help child uh, bringing into their consciousness indirectly, slowly, repetitively, in a rhythmic way, right? The third line, the wisdom of plants breathes in my soul. Wisdom of plants. I mean, plants, do they even have wisdom? What is the wisdom in the plant? And this is something coming forth when the child gets to fourth, fifth grades. when they start studying about the plant. Now, how does a plant know that it has to grow the roots? How does this particular plant know that it has to bear purple flowers? How? I mean, that is where the reverence comes in, where I start observing the environment, that I am also part of that environment. Then I begin to extend that thinking into my own self. How does my stomach know it has to digest? Or if I ate something wrong, why did it not go well? Why did it not digest it? And there may be no answers. The child may never ask the questions and they may never get the answers, but the questioning, the pondering kind of goes on. Why? Right? And Steiner talks about um, when you look at the embryo, the head grows first. So it's like a big head, and through that head grows out the rest of the body. So he kind of pictures the human being as an upside down plant. So the root is in my head, the seed is the like brain, and my limbs are like the fruits and flowers. My body is like the large stem. So that picture is for us to ponder. I'm not sure of I have the clarity of that whole thing yet, but it's worth pondering as to how humans are related with plants. And he also goes on to tell in his lectures to doctors what is healing. Somewhere plants can, if you break away a branch, a flower, or part of it falls away, you kind of uproot the plant, separate the things out, and plant them again, they grow again. How do they have this regenerative power? Some animals also have, they grow back their teeth, they grow back their nails, and stuff like that. Why do human beings don't have it? So, and we are evolved. So he says all those regenerative forces that were in the minerals, that were in the plants, that are in the animals, have transformed into human thinking, human feeling, human willing, which plants animals don't have as much as human beings. And then there is human consciousness. So we have transformed at the cost of something. It is like I get curds at the cost of milk. I don't have milk anymore, but I have curds. So there is transformation. So something like that. That's why when our organs have lost their ability to regenerate themselves, we need to bring in medicines, support from the mineral and the plant world, which do have those regenerative powers. And now they give that strength to my weakened organs to recuperate, to regenerate, for me to become healthy again. So, again, another point for us to ponder upon. See, how we take support from plants, how plants generate food and we consume and break it down so we can absorb it. How plants take in carbon dioxide and we give out carbon dioxide. How we are complementary to each other but yet live in that rhythm. This is like that concept of breathing in, breathing out, contraction, expansion, that beautiful balance that exists between the nature and the human being. Human being is part of the nature, of course, and we all are coexisting so beautifully. And that's something, when a teacher carries it, when the adult carries it, and when you repeat these verses, they are not simple recitation. It's not just blabbering words out, it is communicating with that meaning, right? So the power of animals works in my will. Will is my ability to do. Now, the power of animals, the way animals can push things, the way elephants can pull and push, and horses can run, birds can fly, that gave me insights into building an airplane. In fact, some, I don't know who the person is, but he studied the eagles flying. How they flap their wings for a little bit and then just glide for a long time. And he studied the way the formation of the movement of their feathers in their wings and designed the airplane wings to give that lift. That animal is an inspiration for my will to function in this life. So, how this power of animals works in my will. And I repeat these sentences every single Monday, and the spirit of man lives in me. The spirit of man lives in me. I don't say that I have the spirit. No, spirit of man. What does it mean? I may not get it as an adult also, but I keep reciting this year after year, week after week, month after month. Eventually, I begin to see this correlation between me as a microcosm with the macrocosm, with these rhythms in life. And somehow, when we embody this, all, at least the present day problems with all the screen addictions, with too much of stimulations coming in every moment. I mean, we don't even have time to go through the prayers. We do prayers, but then it's a lip service. So somewhere we have to settle it down, bring this beautiful language as part of my everyday listening, to develop that kind of reverence. So, whatever simple conversations I have will be laden with reverence. So, we will look at the Tuesday verse and see how these all the 5 day verses kind of put together this entire bundle of knowledge for me to imbibe, acquire, embody, and eventually become that. Thank you.